間違えた。よいしょ。いや、ちょっとごめんなさいね。こんばんは。ずるずるずる。ちょっとずれちゃった。すいません。こんばんは。こんばんは。
Good evening.
お疲れ様です。
お疲れ様。
お疲れ様です。いやー、今日はなんかとっても眠い。最近すごく眠いんだけどな。
Yeah, not too bad. I didn't sleep very well last night.
昨日地震があった
Yes,
も
I
んね。
woke up at the earthquake,
Right.
which wasn't that big.
うん。ちょっと待って、なんかこれ大丈夫なのかな。
Then it took me a couple of hours to fall back to sleep again, and then I had some really strange dreams after that.
あ、そう。Strange dream.
But woke up normal time, went off to work, had a fairly good day.
Yeah.
Good evening, welcome to another enthralling Thursday evening chat with English Uplifts, Hiromi and Matthew. Great to have you on board. If you are watching this after the fact, thank you for watching. It's always great.
そう、いつもありがとうございます。
It's always great to see your number on the viewers count.
なかなかね、この時間ってこうほら、子供寝かしつけたりとか、レッスン終わってご飯食べ終わったばっかりとか、これからご飯の人とかね、結構お忙しい方。
Saji Sensei, good evening.
こんばんは。先ほどはありがとうございます。
Yes, I understand you had a nice conversation today.
そうそう。
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Yes, wherever you are, by all means, say hello, say where you are, who you are, and how you are this rather chilly Thursday evening here in Tokyo.
そうね。
お、
ありがとう。
今日はありがとうございました。
いえいえ。いや、なんか忙しかったね、今日は。
Well, it's that kind of year. Not that kind of year. It's that time
もう
of year.
12月だよ。
It's that time of year.
今年終わっちゃう。早いね。
Yes.
なんかこの間ハロウィン終わったような気がしたんだけど、もう12月。
Yeah. But of course, once, if you've been teaching for a while, you start to recognize that when Halloween comes, that's only the start of the busy season.
そうね。
Because Halloween goes and then Christmas comes.
Right.
So we've got Christmas things to prepare, winter school events to prepare, plus lesson observations this week and next week. Rather busy.
そうね。私も今日久しぶりにこう連続でコンサルが入ったから今日あっという間だった。なんかずっと喋ってる気がする。
But I do like this time of year weather-wise, Hiromi. We go to the park every day and it's just beautiful.
そうね。そうね。
But you see people in the park having a barbecue, like at 11:30 on a Thursday afternoon, and you're so envious.
でもこの間ね、葛西臨海公園でバーベキューしたんですよ。よかったね。
Oh, it was fantastic, but it wasn't a weekday.
そうそう。
That was a weekend.
ウィーケンね。
But I'm saying, yeah, see these people in the park having a barbecue on a weekday and you think, oh, that looks so nice.
そうね。なかなか。
I said to my team teaching partner, I said, maybe we should like take the day off and have a barbecue.
1日ぐらいね。
Yeah.
でもなんかいいんじゃない？リトリートデイみたいなさ、先生のリトリートデイを作るっていうのもあるんじゃないかな。なんか、ね、まあいろんなお教室のやり方あるけれど、やっぱり自分の、こうほら、レッスンをこうちゃんと詰めてやらなきゃとかいうんじゃなくて、まあ計算しつつだけどさ、特別リトリートデイがあってもいいかもしれない。まあ親はちょっと大変かもしれないけどね。
Well, as long as lesson amount, the amount of lessons throughout the year, that number, as long as it balances out, you should be okay.
なんかね、やっぱり先生もこうリラックスしてさ、なんか頑張るぞって思うような、なんかそういうのあったらいいよね。先生同士とでもね。まあ、なかなかマシはないかもしれないけど。いやでもね、マシはね。でも、あれよね、いや、バーベキューよかったな。なんかね、アップリフトの先生とかでさ、みんなでバーベキューしたいね。寒いから。
Well, not there because they had heaters and stuff there.
そうだよね。
Yeah.
なんかすごいこう屋根もあってさ。
It was pretty good. It wasn't cheap, but it was well worth it.
あ、そうそう。全然十分、本当に美味しかったよね。なんか、全部こう用意してくれるバーベキューってちょっと、なんかソーセージ残念みたいなのがあったりするけど、
the sausages, I guess, but everything else was like big steaks.
そうそう、本当に美味しかったね。
It's really good. Sorry, vegetarians, if you're there watching this, but
カレーとか、クラムチャウダーとか、ステーキとか、サラダとかね。
Because there's all different styles of barbecue, and it was my idea to take the family on a barbecue because of these barbecues that were happening in our park on a weekday, and it smells so good.
急にね、バーベキューしたいっていう。
Yeah. So we went to Kasai-Rinka Kyoen. And even in that particular park, there's all different barbecue styles, but we don't have a barbecue set. So we just went, listen, let's just pay this amount and have it all prepared for us, and we'll just do the cooking. And it was really good.
ね。なんか行きたいな、先生たちとみんなで。
Yeah.
なんかもう、ただ楽しむ。
Yeah, sounds fun. It was. It was fun. And it's a lovely time of year for it too.
なんかこう寒いけど、こうガーってこうグリルしてるそばでまたこうヒーターがあったりしたら意外と楽しいかもしれないね。やらない？だからやってくんないかな感じ。
I think it's fantastic. We should.
ね。
All right. So yeah, lots been going on. It's busy for all of us, as we know.
あ、そうそう。前回のね、YouTube はまだ限定公開のままにしてます。
Oh, that's right.
まあだから気づいた人が見てくれるかな。
Yes. The nature of its content means that we probably have to keep it that way.
そうそう。
For some time. What else? Last Sunday, we had session 4.
そう、セッション4。もうね、セッション4なんですよ。次世代型英語講師養成講座は、セッション8までやるんですよね。もう半分終わりました、半分。早いね。
早いよ。
早いね。でも早いけど、いつも思うけど、なんかもっとやらなきゃいけないことがある気がしてしまうけれど、でもまあ、半分まで来ました。あとはもうだいぶね、ボリュームが軽くなるわけではないけど。
Not at all. Some big sessions coming up.
そう、次のセッション5が、
Error correction.
と文法ね。グラマー。
文法の導入。
そうそう。文法の日本語を使わないで、どうやって英語の文法を導入するかっていう。
You're right.
すごいベーシックなところだけど、でも、抑えてほしい。すごくアップリフト流な感じの導入をね。
There is this perception that it's not possible to teach grammar without using Japanese.
なんか日本語を使わないと無理ですとか言う。
Even native teachers say that.
あ、そう
I know plenty of native teachers who say, you can't teach English without using Japanese.
でもさ、日本人のさ、まあ言い方あれだけど、まあ、中学校の先生とかで日本語で教えてても子供たち分かってないじゃん。思わない？日本語で教えてて分かってなくのに日本語使わなきゃ。だからやっぱり私たちいつもさ、逆の発想なんだよね。日本語使って分からないやったら英語で分かるように教えたらってそれだけの話なんだよね。本当それだけなんだけどね。なんかすごく、なんていうのかな。よく考えたら、そうじゃんっていう。これ今までのそのノンターゲットイングリッシュアプローチに関してもそうだし、使えない英語を一生懸命日本語で教えて練習だけしてきたんだから、使える英語を英語で教えたらっていうだけの話じゃない。でも、そういう発想ってやっぱ大事だし、 なので、まあ、英語で教えるためにはどうしたらいいんだろうっていうふうに考えていくと、その方法は絶対見つかる。あるはずだと思って探すとね。英語で文法無理でしょって思ったら無理だという思いが、その行動になって無理だという行動につながるから。
Well, in my case, I didn't really go out of my way to look for, I'm going to teach grammar without using Japanese. It was part and parcel of the lessons I give. I don't use Japanese in class.
でも私だって、
So, but I need to, not but, I don't use Japanese in class and I need to use, have the kids understand this grammar rule or this grammar situation.
right.
So I just had to go with it. You know, I didn't decide, well, I usually use Japanese. How am I not going to use Japanese? It was like, well, of course, you know.
私の場合はさ、ほら、海外で日本語を教えてたじゃない、英語を使って教えたことがないんだよね。
Right.
だから当然グラマー
So
は必要でしょ。
your college was really strict, weren't they?
絶対ダメだった。
Yeah.
そのね、勉強してる時には、いや、英語使った方が分かりやすいんじゃないって思ったんだけど、絶対ダメっていうルールだったから、
Right.
絶対英語を使っちゃいけない。もう絶対オールジャパニーズでやんなきゃいけないっていうのを徹底的に叩き込まれてるから、英語を使って文法を教える、日本語文法を教えるっていう発想は全然なかったの。だから、英語でも一緒。別に日本語を使わなくてもできるでしょっていう感じはあるよね。でもそれをやるのには、やっぱり工夫は絶対必要でね。
Absolutely.
まあそれを今度ね、養成講座で紹介したいと思います。
And the other aspect of next session, session 5, is error correction, because we've just come out of Targets English, which is English that the kids study and English that the kids practice. So it's important that that kind of English, there is no mistakes. You don't want kids to memorize and practice and study mistaken English.
まあつまりコミュニケーションの英語と勉強としてやる英語っていうのはやっぱちょっと質が違うわけだから、
コミュニケーションだったら多少ね。
多少間違いがあっても意思疎通ができることの方が重要だし、もちろんターゲットの意思疎通がそうなんだけど、でもターゲットは何のためにやるかっていうと、その学ぶため、勉強としてやるわけだから、そこにあんまりこう間違った文法を教えてはいけないし、そのエラーが出てきた時にはやっぱり直してあげなきゃいけないわけで、ただその直し方っていうのはものすごい大事で。
Right.
こんばんは。
Good evening.
そう、なので、
Thank you for joining us.
直し方っていうのは非常に大切だと思ってるんですよ。なので、いつも言うけどね、エラーコレクションのセミナーとかやってる先生いないんじゃないかなと思う。でも、すっごく大事だよね。
That's very important.
間違えた時どうなんですか？
Particularly with, I mean, maybe I shouldn't generalize, because I haven't taught students of other nationalities, but particularly because it seems, and this is maybe an overgeneralization, that Japanese kids in particular are rather sensitive to making mistakes. They're rather sensitive to being corrected. So it has to be taken with care.
なんかそう、間違うことに対するヘジテーションは、オーストラリアとかイギリスとか韓国行った時もなかったよね。てかなんか間違えて当然でしょうマインドから始めてるから、間違ったら恥ずかしい、間違っちゃいけないっていうのは日本人よりもなかったと思う。だから伸びも早いっていうか成長が早いような気もしなくはないよね。
We used to look at it like this in Australia, Hiromi. When you got your test back, it was, if you got a good score, it was like, oh, great, I only made a few mistakes. It wasn't like, I got this and this and this wrong. You know, it was like, oh, I only made a few mistakes. In other words, making mistakes or getting things wrong or not making the teacher happy was a tarimae.
あとさ、こう文化の違いだけど、罰の付け方がちょっと嫌じゃない日本の。丸罰っていう。ほら、チェックじゃないね。丸がチェックみたいな感じでしょ？ なんか
Yes.
こう、丸々、
A tick is a good thing
そう
in Australia.
そう。ね。なんかほら、それで×だとさ、なんかティックと×ってそんなにこう違い、形に違いがないじゃないですか。
Right.
なんか丸と×って結構オビエスじゃない。
はい
なんかそれも嫌だなと思う。私はテストの時に×をつけたことがない。うん、日本語の場合ね、大体アンダーラインだけで。なんかこの辺おかしいよっていうだけ。いやでもまあそういうこともまた次やりたいなと思います。なんかね、7期のお問い合わせが来てね、もうすでに。
Oh.
うん。まあでも、まだ6期半分残ってるので、来年、年明けにね、また7期の募集をしようかなと思います。うん。いやー、でも、6期の先生はすごい頑張ってる。
Yeah.
うん。それにね、
Yeah, for sure.
今期結構コーチングやって終わった方もいらっしゃるし、6期始まるのと同時にコーチングが始まった人もいるし、またさらにね、クライアント取ってる先生もいて、今4人ぐらいいるんじゃないかな。コーチでやろうとしてる。
Right.
英語コーチをね、やろうとしてる方が。もう体験セッションも終わって、1人制約されたし、でもう1人、また近々、体験セッション入ったって言ってたんで、いや、なんか、今回初めてクライアントを取るんですみたいな感じでね、やってたけど、まあ、すごくいい感じじゃないかなと。でも嬉しいですね。そうやって先生がこう活躍してくれて、でしかも、この養成講座でコーチングを初めて学ぶ人ってすごく多いんだけど、それでもやっぱりコーチとしてやってみようとかね、そういうオポチュニティがあって、で、そのオポチュニティっていうのはなんかなんとかしてクライアント取ってお金をどうのこうのって言うんじゃなくて、そういうのがあったとしてもね、それもやっぱり助けてあげたいとかね、
Right.
役に立ちたいとか、ティーチングじゃない気がするとかね、なんかそういう思いでやってくださる先生が非常に多いので、嬉しいよね。絶対その子の、そのゴールをね、目標達成だけじゃなくて、多分人生観もなんか変わったりすることすごくあるから、ものすごくいいお仕事になるんじゃないかなと
Yes.
思ってます。うん。
Hiromi, this evening's topic.
そうそう。今日のトピックは、いろんなタイプの先生いますよねっていう話なんですよ。
Right. Now, this topic was chosen because currently it's lesson observation.
Right.
At my school for elementary school classes, and I'm very grateful because parents are coming and they're watching their kids at last after a long time because of COVID and stuff like that. They weren't allowed to come in, but now we're letting them in, 4 or 5 parents at a time, and it's great to meet them and talk with them for a little bit face to face. But more than anything, I'm really happy to show off the progress that the kids have made since I joined that school in April. So as you can imagine, any new teacher, any new set of kids, there is a period of getting used to each other. So the kids worked very hard to adjust because this year's system and last year's system is very different. They still have their old teacher who is my team teacher and is very popular, very well liked, and rightly so. She's a very capable teacher. And she and I work really well together. So the kids are enjoying the progress that they are making with this new system of 2 teachers. Now, of course, maybe a lot more is focused this year on classroom communication. There was, without a doubt, some communication that was happening in the classroom in previous years, but it was never, I don't think, the main focus. Most classrooms will focus on target English and the study aspect of English. So to have a teacher like me who comes in and is actually not as focused on target English as I am on non-target English, and then to see the kids start to use more English in the classroom and the Japanese drop, of course, everybody is happy. However, this evening, 4 or 5 parents came, and this particular lesson, I teach on my own. I don't have my regular teacher with me, and I got good comments, obviously. However, one of the parents, on a questionnaire, she wrote, "Look, all the fun and all the jokes and all the laughter in class, that's all very well, but how about some serious study?" or something like that. Something like that. Whereas it's interesting because it was the same class, and one parent wrote that, whereas all the other parents wrote that Matthew's rapport with the kids and Matthew's management of the kids and the class pacing and the amount of English that was able to be used was fantastic. Now, in a way, I agree with her. Yeah, sometimes I feel that it's all right to be all like funny and make the kids laugh and this and that. But yes, we need to move forward. And 2 hours, or lesson time is limited anyway. There's a start time and a finish time. So how you use that time efficiently is always an issue. I know that. So I understand that maybe we could have gotten a bit more achieved. The only thing that she doesn't know is that particular class, well, actually all of my classes are made up of a large number of kids with rather different attitudes. So you've got these kids with good attitudes towards study, but not very good attitudes towards using English. You've got kids with really good attitudes towards using English, but not very good attitudes towards study. You've got kids with not very good attitudes towards study or using English, and you've got kids with good study towards using English and study. Good attitudes towards study and using English. So it's a real mixed bag. Now, if...
そうね、なんかまあ、大体こう、いろんなタイプの子がいるから、まあ、ミックスはミックスなんだけど、ただ、なんていうのかな、こう、クラスメートっていう感じじゃなくて、なんかそれぞれが、それぞれが、なんていうのかな、自分がやればいいっていう、なんていうのそう、EnglishUpliftのスマッシュとかの考えもそうだけど、クラスメート、同じクラスにいるんだから、みんなで協力してとか、みんなで、こう、レッスンを作っていくみたいな感じではないんだよね。どっちかってこう、自分が、なんていうのかな。
Yes, if you are passive and just there for study, it doesn't matter too much. But when it comes to, well, you need, as a student, you need to contribute to your... Yeah, then that's when the personalities or the attitudes make a big difference.
True. Contribution, né?
Right. So it's been really tricky to manage. So because of that, we were going to talk, I suggested, Hiromi, well, we've got YouTube tonight. I wonder if we can talk about class management. And I thought, well, class management, I guess so. But that is a rather serious topic. And maybe we need a little bit more time to research deeper before we just talk about it. We have. But so then Hiromi suggested, what about the different types of teachers? Because tonight I was perceived by one of the parents as being kind of a bit jokey, like the clown or the fun teacher. And she was hoping for a more serious chanto suru. Right. Well, I was careful to make sure that the kids reading, writing, speaking, and listening skills were all being developed in that one lesson. But still, she didn't make, or perhaps didn't really notice that. But what I wanted to know is that everything I do and say in the classroom is for a reason. And if I'm joking a bit much, or joking a lot, or responding to those kids who are perhaps being a bit inappropriate because their attitudes aren't so good, it's because I need to bond with them and build a rapport with them. I have tried the other way, whereas, no, we're going my way. And I wasn't very flexible, and it created a lot of tension in this class. It was fairly new, but the kids with not very good attitudes responded really badly, and they got worse. So in order to get them onto my side, I had to accept an amount of their contribution to class, which wasn't always positive. But I had to accept it, make a joke out of it, and then they could relax with me and they know that their limits. So I've kind of got them on my side. But of course, if you don't know that, it looks like you're just playing to the naughty kids. So it seems to me that the type of teacher you are is linked strongly to your approach to class management. Because the type of teacher you are is your your way of being who you are in order to manage your class, in order to get them off into the direction that your policy wants to take them.
Exactly.
Sorry if you're finding this a bit hard to follow. You've got your policy, your class policy, your teaching policy, your education policy, which is where you want to take the kids into their future. So in order to do that, you need a management policy, because your classroom management will determine how smoothly, successfully, and efficiently and effectively you can get your policy happening on the ground. But of course, your classroom management depends on the types of students that you have. So that's why it's very difficult to talk about a broad solution to classroom management problems, because each classroom management problem is unique. And what I say about my classes and my classroom management may or may not be appropriate to any other class in the country. So who I am in the classroom and however I am in the classroom all relates to classroom management, because you either need to engage those students who are not watching, you need to build rapport with those students who are not very rapport building types anyway. You need to cater for the kids who really want to study. It's a real juggle.
なんかそのアンケートをね見たときに、なんかそういうほらマシュなんかそういうふうに見えるんだなっていう、ちょっとね面白いっていうか、なるほどなっていうふうに思ったんで、多分ね私それ読んだときに、ほらもうちょっと書くの欲しいとかね、こうもっと見えるような形に見えるようなものをもっとやってほしいって、それはすごく気持ち的にわかるけど、今までのことをね踏まえると、オールイングリッシュになっている環境で、子供たちほとんど日本語を話さない状況の中で、そのジョークを言って笑ってるっていうのは大したもんだと思うのよ。
Yes.
だってそれを理解してリアクションしてるわけでしょ。
That's right.
今までだったらわかんないとか言ってみたり、なんて言ってんのって言ったりとか、あるいはなんか日本語で突っ込んでたりすることをさりげなくすごくナチュラルに英語でやってるから当たり前のように見えてるけど、当たり前じゃないんだよね。ちゃんとそこに行くまではいろんなことを踏んでやってるからさ。
Just an example. Maybe it's not very funny, but so I've got these boys who are they attract a lot of attention because of their output, even though it's not always appropriate, and even though it's sometimes at the cost of other kids. To give you an example, all right, who would like to try the next challenge, for example? And so these boys go, me. I want to try. Let me try. And one of the shy girls goes, oh, let me try. So I picked the shy girl. I said, all right, whatever her name might be, like Nana-chan or whatever. Okay, Nana, come on then. And because I had picked a girl, a different person, the two boys went, oh, like that. You know those guys who do that. They overreact. And so drama queens because I didn't pick them for a challenge. You know, that's the type of personalities we're talking about. And so, of course, you could ignore it, and that's maybe a way of dealing with it too. But because it's so much, it's hard to ignore. So you look at them and everything stops, and the other kind of laugh and giggle because they're clowns. So you need to react. So I said, you know, are they okay? You know, and the kids laugh and they go, no, they're not okay. And I'm like, what do they need? Do they need violins? Should I play some violin? You know, and all the kids laugh because they know what I'm talking about. But of course, if you're an observing parent, you might think that that moment is a waste of time. That moment is a waste of time. But of course, the girl got her chance. But that, you know what I mean? But the fact that you say things like, should we buy them flowers? Should we get Amazon to buy flowers for them? You know, or should I play violin? Or should we call a doctor? Do they need an ambulance? Do they need a coffee? Whatever you may say in reaction to that, the fact that you respond to it in English and the kids laugh, I think it's a fantastic thing.
いいよね。そこで Yes, please とかなんか出てるの面白いしね。なんかそういう、それが時間の無駄でもっとこうやってくださいってわかるけど、それこういうの大事なんだよなって思うんだけどね。
So, well, it depends on what the observer's image of teacher stereotypes are. Now,
その先生はこうあるべき、こうするべきっていうのが、強い人はね。
Now, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to use English in a way that has kids feel success. So that's a big difference. If you look at me and go, well, he's trying to be funny. He's trying to be a clown, or he's trying to be liked. Some teachers may go out of their way to try to be liked, for example.
結構さ、マシュすごい面白いとかってなるんだよね。面白いんだけど、面白いっていうかそのリアクションにも全部理由があるんだよね。
Yes, of course.
ただこうジョークを飛ばしてるんじゃなくて、そのジョークの先の子供のリアクションを見越して言ってるじゃない。
That's right.
で、そこだよね。単にこうバカなこと言って笑わせてるんじゃなくて、そのリアクション、次の子供たちのユースオブイングリッシュを見越しての計算なんだよね。でもそれはやっぱりさ、こうナチュラルにやればやるほどさ、マシュ先生楽しい先生だよねっていうふうに終わっちゃう人はいるよね。
Yes, but of course,
面白いけどね。
all of the other comments were like, we are so surprised about how much English these kids are using.
そうだね。
We are so surprised at how much they've grown. I did not expect them to be using this amount of English. I was expecting still a lot of Japanese in class and hardly heard any. This is what the other parents were writing. And some nice comments directly about me and my pacing or whatever. And yes, positive comments about the rapport that I have with the kids and the kids have with me. And 楽しくやってます. And I think that's a big concern for the parents. That it has to be fun, but as you know, and we know, that fun is not the ultimate objective, but it's It's a
楽しんでやるっていうのはいいことだからね。
yes.
楽しむのが目的ではないけど、
No.
楽しんでやるというプロセスは大事だからね。
That's right.
プロセスは楽しんでるっていうのは非常にいいことだね。
So because I left that particular image with this particular mother, we talked about, well, the different types of teachers, because they have a long-lasting image, but I'm sure they create that image as a result of the style of classroom management that they feel they need to do. So
あとやっぱりこう、自分の経験から来るイメージとかね。先生はこうあるべきだっていう、何かがあってさ、理想の何かがあって、それとこう、コンパラソンして、あの人は違うとかさ、なんかそういうのあるかもしれないね。
So I just went to the web and typed in different types of teachers, and I came across this page. This is unicheck.com, which is not necessarily focused on educational matters. I think they focus on a range of different topics. But
17 types of teachers.
17 types of teachers that everyone knows.
なかなか面白いトピックね。
They said that they classified teachers, they did some research classifying teachers according to their personality traits, the amount of homework they gave, their tone of voice when they explain something, and their facial expression.
そうね。
So they classified these teachers based on these things. Their tone of voice, their facial expressions, the amount of homework they gave, and their overall personality.
面白いね。
This article goes on to say, if you are a teacher, you might want to have a little peek into how students classify some teacher types. So these are student classifications.
面白くない？なんか生徒から見る先生のタイプでしょ？
Accept the challenge and you will definitely find yourself or someone
先生方どうですかね？
in the infographic.
これ見てる先生だからね。今見てる先生も後から見てる先生も自分は生徒からどういう先生だと思われてるかなっていう。まず自分はどう思ってるかっていうのがあるじゃない。自分はこう思ってるけど生徒はどう思ってるのかなみたいな。なんかお母さんみたいな先生とか、お友達みたいな先生とか、厳しい先生とか、ないじゃない？
Yeah. Have a think about it before we run through some of the descriptions.
でもさ、これ面白いね。あんまりそういうの自分でも考えたことない。私ってどういうふうに見られてるのかなみたいな。私、自分では結構、ある意味厳しいっていうか、と思ってるんだけど、でもあんまり厳しいって見られない、ね。自分ではここは絶対許さないみたいなのが結構あるじゃない。だけど、
I've received a lot of different descriptions. I've been told that I look scary. I've told that I have scary eyes. I guess they can be scary, especially if you're wearing a mask. I've been told that at least 2 times, but not by parents, but by adults. But I'm not sure the kids think I'm scary. I think the kids think I'm fair. The kids think maybe I'm sometimes funny but strict when it needs to be. I think, I don't think I'm ever strict in a way that makes the kids feel why. But we'll reflect on ourselves in a minute. Let's get on with this. So here is one type of teacher. And I might type it in the chat box because that way we can leave a record of it. And also some of this. I'm not sure. This is called the Despotic Teacher, which might be a new word for some people. So the Despotic Teacher. Oh, doesn't matter. And it's an E from inside. The Despotic Teacher. the despotic teacher. This one doesn't care what you think about anything. There's only one point of view that's correct, and that's the despotic teacher's point of view. His behavior may vary from passive-aggressive to bullying, and students just need to get through this terrible school period as best they can when they're dealing with the despotic teacher. Yes, there are those kind of teachers.
これはスタブルとストリクトが混ざってる感じ？
Yes.
私も聞いたことないね、こういう感じ。
In history, in modern history, the despot would be leaders like Adolf Hitler.
なるほどね。
Really.
もう絶対自分が正しいからね。
Okay, so there's that type of teacher.
まあ、嫌だね。
Yeah.
絶対嫌だね。うわ、もう無理だ。
But of course, you know, in high school we had these teachers. I was lucky they were never mine. Next one. I don't think that those type of teachers have much of the despotic teachers. I don't think they have much of a place in modern schooling anymore. What do you think?
でもほら、いたじゃない、小学校とかで。学校でおしゃべりして給食食べてたら、めちゃくちゃ怒って、すごいもう、先生の威圧感で子供がもう、みたいになったじゃん。
Next one. Okay. The cool teacher. This type of teacher can solve students' problems, protect them from other types of teachers, such as the despotic teacher and the crazy ones. They can inspire kids to be more creative, diligent, and enthusiastic, and throw a lifeline to them.
Right, that's cool.
Showing how to find your vocation and what to do with your life. Ever the mentor and the helper, this teacher can even become your friend after you leave your school.
あなたこれじゃない？結構子供たちが卒業してからもうちょっとマシュの音楽聴きましたとか、そう。
Yes, but I don't have that many. I've taught a lot of students over the last 25, 26 years, but I'm really only in touch with one on a regular basis. He's now 20 years old. Who's that type of teacher? I wonder if anybody... Oh, good evening. We are talking about different types of teachers in our classrooms, and you may or may not identify with any one or two of these. The first one we've discussed is the despotic teacher, which is the teacher who like Hitler. It's my way, and that's the only way. Or the cool teacher that is cool with all the kids and likes to solve their problems, can protect them from other teachers, and
Despotic teacher いると思うよ。生活指導とかでさ、髪決めすれとか、靴下こうしようとか、私に聞いたよね。
Yes.
なんかね、すぐ細かいことチェックする。ほら、今どうなんだろうなって、髪の毛が茶色いとかさ、染めてこいとかさ、そこは坊主にしようとかさ。
They were certainly at my school when I was there, and my sister, she had blue hair. And back in those days, in that part of Australia, that was not a very obvious look.
Blue hair.
Blue hair. And of course, this particular teacher was furious. But of course, you know, our mum came to our sister's rescue and said, we like blue hair. So that was good. Hey, the next type of teacher. I wonder if this is you. Okay. A hot teacher. Here she comes, the one that all the boys love. Of course, the hot teacher can either be female or male, but the point of view is the same. They are extremely attractive. Who knows? Maybe their appeal is the reason why students attend their classes regularly. Unfortunately, students miss the majority of what the hot teacher says during the class, and they can recollect practically nothing after the bell rings.
全然勉強頭に入ってこないって。
This one. こういう先生もいるよ。
Apathetic.
The apathetic teacher. Apathetic is also a new word for many people, perhaps. The apathetic teacher is sick and tired of the job.
いる。
いるでしょ？
いるいる。もう疲れ切っちゃってるんですよね。
Sick and tired of the job and annoying to students.
最悪や。
The apathetic teacher probably used to be rather cool and enthusiastic back in the days when the grass seemed greener. It's not all that simple now. For some reason, this teacher doesn't change jobs but keeps on hating the school.
なんならやめればいいのにって思うのに文句言いながらやってる先生いるよね。
Doomed to waking up every day and heading to the odious work. We had teachers like that at high school.
いるいる、いたいたいた。
And they used to complain to the kids about the headmaster. Or the fukukocho. They would complain to us, the kids. They'd go, oh, he's an idiot. We always suspected he was a bit of an idiot, but the teachers would confirm it. So, yeah, those teachers who complain to kids or to other parents about their job, not a good look.
こう、やめればいいのにね。でもさ、私、いるじゃない？そういう先生ってさ、そんなに文句言って、そんなに嫌がってやめればいいのにって思ってやめないじゃない。
Right.
っていうのって、文句を言うことがめちゃくちゃコンフォートゾーンなんだよね。
Yeah.
文句を言い続けてることがカンフタボーになっちゃってる。
Yes, yes.
カンフタボーに、こう、外から見ると見えないんだけど、本人は、文句を言うことがカンフタボーになってるっていうね、不思議な現象だよね。あるある。おかしい。
We used to have this teacher, and she'd come in, and she'd be like, That's how she'd open the class. Throw stuff on the desk and like, I mean, I do that on purpose sometimes.
Yeah.
So the kids go like, do you need a coffee? This type of teacher. The activist. This teacher is sure everything's going to be fine if you stick to a rigorous plan of improvement. And this teacher is ready to infect students with enthusiasm despite the fact nobody cares. Right. What you're not supposed to do is skip classes and fool around, but what you are supposed to do is join some clubs, chess, discussion, journalism, whatever, and take an active part in school life. Yeah. When activist teachers were school kids, they probably had a lot of badges.
なるほどね。
そうそうそう。
でもいるよね。すごくいろんなことにさ、アクティブでさ、いろんなこう、趣味もあってさ、何でもやっちゃうみたいな。
Yeah, very active in all walks of life.
すごいエネルギー。
Yeah. Very opinionated. Very defensive.
すごいエネルギーあるね。私はちょっと無理だな。無理だなってた。
This one.
ああ、なるほどね。
The crazy teacher.
The
crazy teacher. Here's the description. Nobody knows for sure what to expect of crazy teachers. Their mood and their attitude towards the job, students, and education changes so quickly, so it's impossible to keep track of it all. They have lots of crazy theories and ideas which are difficult to interpret.
本当にクレイジーだ。
Yeah, they're absolutely spacey. And all your attempts to communicate with the crazy teacher feels like trying to communicate with aliens.
なるほどね。先生としてとかじゃなくて、見てて面白いってなるかもしれない。先生、なんかぶっ飛んでんな、みたいな。
そう。
ぶっ飛んでんな、先生、みたいな。どうしちゃったのかな、みたいな。メガネ回ってるし、みたいなね。あるじゃない。
そう
気にならないのかな、とかさ。
Right.
なるほどね。
The crazy teacher. I've been called crazy.
マジよく言ってるね。まあ、ジョークだけど。
Maybe I think I'm probably the only teacher in this industry who, when a student calls their name, I look up. They go, "Hey, Matthew," and I'm like, and they go, "Matthew, Matthew over here." So. こういう先生もいるね。確かにいる。The cat lady. The only creatures that this teacher adores are cats. 確かにそういう先生いたね。She only likes cats. Cats are good, students are bad. The cat lady universe is obviously cat-centered and there's no room for anybody else. Sometimes the cat lady forgets she's a teacher who is supposed to collaborate with human beings and treat students as if they were her cats.
本当？いたそういう先生。
At least you know how to talk to her. You can always show her a cute cat video.
見て見て。
そう。
かわいいのかわいい。Wow, adorable! みたいな。キャットレディね。いた？本当になんか、気にしてなかったね。面白いね。
Scary Librarian.
これは、実際私は見たことないけど、なんかイメージがあるよね。なんかメガネかけてさ、もうこうやってもう、
pushing the trolley, looking really grumpy all the time.
なんでも
う、Boys, you're too noisy. This is a library.
とかなんかこう違うところに片付けてとか、ここじゃないのに。
そう。
ちゃんとあいうえお順になってるからさ、ちゃんと戻してみたいな。
Right. Or the books are a little bit like,
ずれてると。もうこイメージね。
Though not actually a teacher, the scary librarian is an essential part of the school. The library is a place of knowledge. And the guards of this special place are the scary librarians. They're the ones you don't want to mess around with. They will do their utmost to keep order in the library. So be ready to follow the rules and shut up when they growl. Silence, please.
でも実際はいないな。私会ったことないな。なんでそういうイメージがあるんだろうね。していこう。けど実際で。
Our school librarian was a little bit like that.
本当。
The best way to get on her side was to go and work in the library. And suddenly she was really nice.
なんかちゃんと分かってくれてるっていうね。
If you offered, because I did in primary school, I spent quite a lot of lunchtimes and recesses in the library because I was a bit of a nerd perhaps, but I liked the idea of putting things in order and cards and stamps and things like that. I like that kind of stuff, that organization of it. I liked it.
その感じが全然ないよね。そのまま座ってほしかったね。
はい。This one.
これはあるね。
いるよね。
高校の先生とか多いんじゃない？
This next one The buddy teacher, yeah. This one recently graduated from university
あ、そうそうそう。なんか
and actually looks like a student too. He wears the same bomber jacket and watches Game of Thrones, just like you. He knows what troubles the students experience and sympathizes with them since until recently, he was in the same boat. He's great to go with to a concert. He's definitely a cool guy, but not a good teacher.
なんかイメージとしてさ、まだ大学出てすぐ先生になったばっかりの先生が高校の先生みたいな感じ。年齢もそんなに離れてないし、なんか若いし、なんかお兄ちゃん、
Yes.
なんか友達的なさ。
Yes, but the problem is that he thinks that's a really cool approach to go with students, but in fact, students don't like that. They distrust teachers who want to be buddies. They don't trust.
危ない。なんかほら、テレビとかでさ、そういうのあるじゃないですか。なんか友達っぽい先生みたいな。私ね、役割が違うと思うんだよね。
And now, if you Google, is it okay for teachers to be friends with students? You'll get lots of opinions on it. And by and large, the opinions are no, there needs to be definite removal between. Of course, because with social media and stuff, you know, should you become Facebook friends with the students, right? I've never. In fact, even when my student left school, graduated from high school and became an adult, I was still reluctant to become, in the end, we became Facebook friends because I feel he's an okay guy. But we're not friends in that we hang out. Because obviously I'm also several generations older than him. So it can't be like that. So I am older than his father. But he and I have a lot in common. So in that sense. Yeah. The drill sergeant is the all right. Let's. The army teacher. The army teacher. Students are not recruits, but the army teacher never got that message. Students are supposed to follow orders and work hard. This teacher's tactics include abuse through the primary weapon of yelling. Highly disciplined and...
なんかもう、なるほどね。
Yeah.
結構ほら、なんていうのかな。スポーツ系の強い感じで、根性でやれみたいな。根性足りないみたいな。なるほどね。
And they'll call everyone by their last name. G Wild! Get in the showers! You're off! This one is the super coach. I won't bother typing it in. The super coach, similar to the army teacher. The super coach will make you go through a number of difficulties and challenges, just like the army teacher. But the super coach actually shows you how to do it and motivates you so much that you'll run the obstacle course with pleasure and enjoy it. So you saw that there. So you said some more in there. The approach matters, right? As a rule, the super coach makes high demands of all the students, but sometimes singles out just one, who then must carry the burden of the coach's greatest expectations. Yeah. Right. Very motivating. Come on, team. Come on, gang.
でもちゃんとね、こうした方がいい、ああした方がいいとかね。で、まあ、優勝したらもうボロ泣きしちゃうみたいなね。もうなんかもう、生徒以上にもう崩れて泣いちゃうみたいな。
Guys, I'm sorry. そういう先生いる？
いや、わかんないけど、なんかイメージよ。
イメージだね。はい。Hey, this teacher.
あ、書いてみた。
Oh, okay, that's the super coach.
スーパーコーチ。
そうだね。We have to keep a record of this. And the next one is this one. The shy teacher. Generally speaking, shy teachers may be rather good at what they do and perhaps even have a calling. But the main problem for shy teachers is their inability to show their talent and therefore nobody can fully appreciate it.
なんかかわいそうだね。シャイティーチャーはいるな。
ちょっとよくわかんないな。
シャイ、なんていうのかな。多分あんまりこう自分を出したがらないから、出さないから、あんまりこう大きな声も出さないし、注意もしないし、まあ、仲良くやろうよっていう。なんか文字とかもちっちゃくてとかさ。なんかこう、そういう感じじゃないの
You're just describing what they're saying here. The shy teacher isn't ready to take on challenges or overcome difficulties. It's better to stay in a narrow comfort zone or even be a victim. Their approach to discipline in the classroom is not very good.
静かにしようよって言って、わーってなって、なんで静かにしてくれないんだろうなって言いながら、授業始めます。ってやったイメージ。すごい妄想だけど。
聞いてくださいね。
みんなちゃんと聞こうよって。で、なんかお家帰ってから、なんか、私って信頼されてないのかもっていう。いや、イメージがね。そんなことないかな。でも別に、その先生言っていいと思うけどね。
I wonder if this teacher is coming up, but I also, when I was reading this, I was imagining the arty teacher. Maybe it's coming up. You know those, especially art, or teachers who are really talented at something that they perhaps shouldn't be a teacher. They should be doing this for a full living.
教える方じゃなくてそっちで行けばいいのね。
そう。
あんなことね。
Okay, next teacher. The control freak.
Freak.
Law and order is the life motto of the control freak, and students are the first to suffer from such an approach.
このコントロールフリークって一番最初に何が違うの
？Opinions must be the same. That's the despot. Control freaks won't allow any interference into the study process, so don't expect to have much freedom of expression in their classes. They know best what is right and what is wrong, and that's that. まあちょっと似てるよね、the first one.
やだね、正規にコントロールフリークって言わないと思うけど。
The control freak. Next one. Hippie.
Hippie?
The hippie teacher.
The hippie teacher.
いる。
もうイメージ。
Hey guys. Hey man.
Love.
Though good discipline is not their strong point. Hippie teachers can be a great source of inspiration and admiration for the younger generation. Their worldwide view is simple but striking. Peace, love, and happiness. And of course, every school needs a hero. Nevertheless, the hippie teacher sometimes turns out to be an ordinary or even an indifferent person who's just stuck in the 60s.
いた。もう見た目もちょっと。
Yeah. Yeah.
こういう髪の毛。
Yeah. Kind of long.
そう。
Or definitely glasses.
真ん中分けでさ。
Yeah. John Lennon glasses. kind of quiet,
うん。
doesn't smile a lot, but when you talk about love
うん。
and peace, he's like,
オーシャンとかね。
we'll have rainbow stickers on his folders.
うんうん。なんかこう。
Yeah, braided
そうそう、なんか。
braids
うん
here.
うん。
And his jacket smells like incense.
ああ、わかる。うん。お香ね、インセンスの匂いね。わかるわかる。いたいた。ああ。
いる?
うん。
Shall we type it in?
うん。
A highly concerned teacher. Ah, okay, yeah, いる.
すごい心配性。
Yeah. No matter what it is, politics, gender, education, or the environment, the highly concerned teacher cares deeply about it all. It's hard to ignore the concerns since all discussions will eventually turn to whatever issues are considered of great importance. Yes, we should all care, but not everyone needs to jump on the bandwagon. Yeah, they talk about issues
うん。
all the time. That's all they talk about.
うんうんうん。
We had
そのpolitically correct とかさ、そういうのでしょ？うん。うん。
yeah.
あんまり良かったね。
Well, in Australia,
うん。
especially when I was in high school,
うん。
we often had teachers go on strike.
うん。
It was very political upheaval,
うん。
political days when I was in high school in the early 80s. And there were many teachers' strikes when the teachers went on
そうな
strike.
んだ。
Not just teachers, but they went in solidarity for other unions and
right.
it was like a workers' strike or whatever. And so the teachers were on strike often. So you used to get substitute teachers. And so the whole day would be fairly like days of nothing because the substitute teacher didn't really know what to do, what to teach. So we just talked. And often the substitute teachers were these kind of teachers who would talk about issues. And so we just spend all period just talking political issues and just local issues and modern day issues. 日本いないと思うけど this teacher, the loser.
どういう意味なの？先生のルーザーっていうの。
Perhaps these teachers dreamt of being somewhere else except school. Maybe they wanted to become rock stars or astronauts, but the stars were not properly aligned and they ended up as school teachers.
そういう意味のルーザーね。
And now they're bound to be hateful and mechanical in their teaching. So they resent this situation.
Yeah.
They're terrible teachers and have no one to blame but themselves.
いや、すごいね。だから、あれでしょ、こう、自分の夢が叶わなくって先生になっちゃう。
そう。
いいね。
そう。
なんか俺はこんなとこにいるはずじゃなかったんだみたいな。
Right.
俺はもっとこんなことができたんだ。
Right.
っていう先生ってこと？
Yeah.
結構出たね。
That's it.
面白いね。どうでしょう、先生方。
The despot teacher, the cool teacher, the hot teacher, the apathetic teacher, the activist, the crazy teacher, the cat lady, the scary librarian, the buddy teacher, the army teacher, the super coach, the shy teacher, the control freak, the hippie.
でもこれさ、生徒たち、ちょっとさ、年齢が上がってきた、中高生ぐらいでさ、こういう話盛り上がるだろうね。
Yeah.
あの先生こうだよね。
Yeah.
絶対盛り上がっちゃう。
Yeah. And The reason for me is that these kind of descriptions are bringing a lot of laughter to me is because that's exactly what we used to do as kids. We used to categorize the teachers. This teacher's really cool, this teacher's really cool. Because it'd be like every year you'd go up a grade. And it's like, who's your math teacher this year? Oh, I've got Mr. Davis. Right. Oh, well, I've got Miss Hutchins. Oh, lucky you, right? And so you were already predicting the quality of the year ahead on day one by the teachers that you were assigned.
Right.
Because you never knew which teacher you were getting.
Right. そうだね。でもさ、こう、改めてさ、自分がこう先生になった立場でさ、生徒はどういうふうに見てるんだろうね。
Because there were those teachers that you had in your own classes who were your teachers. And there were those teachers that you saw on the playground who weren't your teachers, but you still had an image of them.
Right.
And then when you ended up being their student, then you went, oh, not this teacher. But you found they were pretty okay. I was really lucky, especially in high school, actually elementary school too. I pretty much liked all of my teachers.
Right. 私、小学校の時、嫌いな先生いたな。なんかね、絶対名前覚えてくれない先生がいて。絶対違う人の名字で呼ぶっていうさ。なんか椎名さんって言われて、なんで私、川原なのにって。2年生の担任なんかずっと名前間違えられたっていう。椎名、なぜか私を椎名っていう。わかんないんだけど。っていう先生がいて好きじゃなかったな。とか言われる。あと、中学校の英語の先生。中2だったかな。男の先生だったんだけど、まあ顔は結構かっこいいんだけど、なんかね、ちょっとこう自信がないタイプの先生で、まあ、いけないんだけど、みんながからかったんだよね、先生。なんかこう、女子校だったんだけど、男の先生でさ、なんかこう、キャンの、ティーのこう、ペンケースをさ、みんなでガタガタガタガタって落とすみたいな。うるさくなるじゃん。それをみんなでやるみたいなことがあったわけ。前から一つずつタッタッタッタッ。いじめだよね、今思うと。とか、なんか先生が入ってきたら、全員後ろ向きにこう、座って背中向けてたみたいな。
Oh, that's not nice.
よくないよね。なんかそういうことがあったの。で、そしたら、先生が泣いちゃったんだよね。そう。でも本当に申し訳ないけど、なんか、僕は君たちのことを愛してるのにみたいなこと言ったから、でそういうのさ、女子高生に言っちゃダメでしょ。いや、わかるよ。今、なんかなんていうの、まあ、そういうお年頃だからさ、なんかゲーって余計になっちゃったっていうのがあったな。私でもそういうのね、参加しないでなんか嫌だなって思って見てる方だった。愛子先生、はい。
The loser. It reminded me of my high school teacher in the US. He used to talk on and on about his IQ score was.
もう自慢したくてしょうがないね。そうね。いやどういうふうに見られてんだろうね。
So, my geography teacher, I really liked him. I loved the way he talked. He'd say things like, he spoke in very formal language, that formal that was so formal, it wouldn't be often heard in a classroom. So he'd say things like, so, up to now, does anybody have any questions, queries, comments, observations, or qualms?
Qualms. はいってか。
We go, yeah. What's a qualm?
いやいやいや、今まさにそう思った。
And so that was his favorite thing to say.
Right, right.
Does anybody have any questions, queries, comments, observations, or qualms? So never forgot it. And then he'd have this worksheet. He'd say, so, okay, right now I am going to present to you this excellent little worksheet.
Excellent.
He made it. This excellent little worksheet. Or we're going to read this excellent article. You know. So yes, because yes, he's a big influence on me, on how I speak to the kids. Yeah. This is excellent. I drew it. You know? Yeah, that guy, his name is Mr. Dylan, and he was my geography teacher. And I am in a Facebook group of graduates from that particular high school.
Right.
And there was a recent thread. Who were your favorite teachers from your era? And I wrote his name and it got many likes because he was at that school a long time and a lot of kids could really identify, yeah, he was great. He was great. The only thing with Mr. Dylan was that his deodorant, his choice of cologne was so strong. I mean, he was a big man, so he was probably a sweater, you know. No, he was a fairly young guy, big guy, and not the old man type of, but kind of the young man kind of deodorant cologne. Very strong. You could smell him before you could hear him or see him. It's like, Mr. Dylan's coming. Yeah. But he was a great guy, and he was very funny in class, very seriously funny. And we were all like in year 7 and year 8, which is like junior high, first grade and second grade. So in his eyes, we were like really small. And it was certainly in that age, physically, I think we were a lot smaller than the same age group now. So we were looked, nowadays, junior high, first graders and second graders are pretty big kids. But they're almost sometimes as big as the adults. But we were still rather tiny at that, in the early 80s. And so he used to talk about the pygmies of Africa. And he'd look directly at us. Right. Inferring that we were pygmies. Well, that's interesting. That's exactly what the pygmies of Africa would do. You know? Yeah. So very tongue-in-cheek, very, very funny, very me and you. So he was a big influence on me. Great guy. So, teachers, do you relate to any of these? If you do, it'd be lovely to hear your comments in the chat box. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this session, was that the image that you have is the image that you portray, which is often a deliberate attempt to get a hold of your version of class management. Yeah, I'm sure the shy teacher and maybe who else? The shy teacher and the hippie maybe would prefer to have a bit more sense of class management. Maybe they didn't choose that stereotype or that image for class management purposes, because if they did, it's not really working.
だと思うね。だって自由すぎちゃうからさ。マネジメントっていうか、いいのよ、自由で、フリーダムみたいな感じになったりとか、シャーレ先生ももうなんかそんな言いませんみたいになっちゃうと、結構子供たちが ワールドとか、もう本当に自由になっちゃうことあるよね。マネジメントにならないから。
The shy teacher would continue teaching even though like there was a fight happening at the back of the classroom.
そうだよね。
そう。ね。
私どうだったかな。私どういう見られたんだろうね。
You, what, teaching in England at a boys' school?
そ
A hot teacher. For sure.
う。人気あったかもね。わからなかったですね。でもちゃんと勉強してたよ。
Well, of course.
でもなんか私ね、
I think they wanted to impress you.
ちゃんとかっこいいとこ見せたいからね。なるほどね。私ね、ちょっとね、自分の弱点なんだけど、これは。私、過去のことをね、すっごいよく忘れるんだよね。あんまり覚えてないんだよね。先生のこととかもあんまり記憶にないし、なんか生徒もね、イングランドの子は一人覚えてるけど、なんかどんな授業したかっていうのも、いっぱい授業したんだけどさ、なんか、手裏剣を作ったのよ、俺らで。そしたらさ、もう、授業中に手裏剣がピュンピュン飛んで授業にならなかった時があって、で、なんか、金とか銀のさ、ちょっとその、なんていうの、カウンチャーアクティビティみたいなんで、折り紙をやろうみたいな、男の子たちばっかり。でも男の子だからさ、と思って、なんかちょっと面白いかなと思って、手裏剣をこうみんなで折ってたらさ、すっごい気に入っちゃって、で、ほら、キラキラのさ、折り紙で作るものだから、みんなもう、いっぱい作っていっぱい持って帰って、みんなバーって飛ばしちゃってさ、そしたら、日本語取ってないクラスの男の子は、なんかいいなとか言って、なんか教室に飾ってた手裏剣全部なくなっちゃったみたいな。もうそういうのしか覚えてない。
はあ。
面白かったな。手裏剣飛んでたもんね。だから多分、手裏剣に教えてくれた先生で終わっちゃったかもしれないね。もっとにたくさん教えたんだけどさ。どうなんだろうね。小学校の時とかどうなのかな。小学校の時は優しい先生に見えたかもしれないけど、厳しい時厳しかったし。どうなんだろう。でも、謎だと思ってたよね、子供たちは。新宿の小学校でもそうだけど、荒川もそうだったけど、私、本当に子供の目の前で絶対日本語喋んなかったから、日本人なのに日本語喋んないのみたいな。日本語で喋りかけても、すっとぼけたりさ、まあわかるような、ちょっと英語で答えたりしてたじゃん。なんか、一番、新宿の時だよね。あれ、荒川の時だよ。
荒川もそうだよ。卒業
離任式の時。
Right.
離任式の時に、ほら、先生たちが異動になる時にさ、体育館に集まってさ、先生から最後のお別れの言葉みたいなのがあった時に、何喋ったか忘れないけど、日本語喋ったの、当然。したら、本当に子供たち一歩引いたよね。日本語喋ってるみたいな。喋るよ、普通に。みたいな。だからなんか、不思議な先生だと思ったかもしれないね。ほら、キャンの授業をするとさ、来てたじゃん、子供が。
Yes.
ひろみって名前なの。川原先生とか言って、Can you say とか言ってさ。
Can you say
そう、Can you say あいうえおとか言って聞いてたじゃん。いや、言えるよね。
3年生でしょ。
そう。Can you say あいうえおって聞かれて、Of course! あいうえおって言ったら、おーとか言ってたじゃん。どっちなんだろうみたいなね。
そう。
謎の先生だった。ミステリアスなんだろう。
Well, the other thing was that you never taught there. You were always the mystery teacher up the back.
ミステリー、そうだよね。ミステリーティーチャー。
You never took the front role.
2日ではやったんだよ。
2日、そう。Why was that?
どうしても授業見たいって。
先生が。
そう。1回だけやった。でもなんかほら、前も言ったけど、なんか 河原先生だからできるって言われるのが絶
So
対嫌だった。
that's right. So that's why you
そう
didn't
そう
do it.
そう絶対嫌だった。
Understand.
でもほら、逆にさ、ちょっと入ろうとした時があったの、結構クラスがぐちゃぐちゃになっちゃった時。
Right.
そしたらほら、飯田先生がさ、ひろみやめてって、俺自信なくなっちゃったから絶対入んないでって言
Yeah,
って
for
たの。
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
そうそう
That's understandable.
でもそうだよね。今思うとミステリーティーチャーでいつもさ、教室の後ろでなんかカリカリカリカリ書いてさ、
Yeah.
で、なんかプスプスって前に行ってさ、
Yeah.
なのに廊下にあって、ハローとか言って声かけてきてさ、英語でしか喋んないみたい
Yeah.
な。確かにね。
Yeah.
で先生の指導してる人に見えなかっただろうしね。確かに。あの先生は誰だったんだろうってあったね。自分がどこに発展があるかを考えるのって案外難しいですね。難しいよね。いろんなタイプを聞いて自分の歴代の先生たちって思い出しました。そうそうそ
Yes.
う。ね。でもなんかほら、子供もその歴代の自分たちが歴代の先生を思い出すように自分もその中に入ってるとしたらどれだろうみたいに思っちゃいますよね。でも確かにミステリアスだ。あの先生何だったんだって、あの人誰だったんだって日本を終わってしまったかもしれないね。確かにそうだよ。
Yeah. I'd like to talk more in detail about class management, but it is hard
うん。
because of every different class's situations. You can't really have a general.
そうそうね、やっぱね、クラスのマネジメントとほら、こういうタイプが、まあ、もっとあると思うんだよね。こういうふうに、こういうカテゴリーにもしこう入るとするならばさ、こういう人のその価値観っていうのがあるわけじゃない。そういう人の価値観でのクラスマネジメントが、その、正しいか正しくないかっていうのはジャッジできないわけ。
そうなんだよ。
だからそこは非常に難しいよね。自分の、その、価値に関して間違ってる正しいはないじゃない。
Every interpretation of class management depends on so many various factors
そうそうそう。
that it's rather unique to the individual teacher and individual class.
うんうん。
So, I guess there are certain aspects of class management that you do it the same in every class
Right.
that you do, each teacher does. And then there's other aspects that vary depending on the class.
Right, right.
I guess maybe if we were to talk about class management, the only thing I could do is speak about personal experience as opposed to, well, I found that this approach was good and that approach was good, because that just depends
そう。
on
で
your
もやっぱり
yeah.
そのポリシーであったりさ、先生がどういうことに価値を置くかで全部変わっちゃうから、
Yeah.
自分の場合はって人しか話せないよね。
Yeah.
自分の場合はっても、まあちょっと軽くあえて言うとするならば、私はやっぱ先生は先生としての威厳があった方がいいなと思うね。
Yeah. So I was rather surprised to get that comment from that parent today in the observation, but on the other hand, I'm not disappointed at all. It's given me a new opportunity to reflect, and it gives me a sense of, wow, I'm seen in that light as well.
でもまあさ、初めてこう見た時の印象に過ぎないから、まだそこについてはちゃんとこう伝えきれてないところがあると思う。
Right. And her particular son is a very, what's the word? He's, he's a good kid. In other words, he's not part of the disruptive boys. He's very, yes, ちゃんとやりたい、ちゃんとやってる. And he enjoys the class. But
あんまり出さないんで。
ちょっとそんなに出さないし、but he's there, waiting, ready. He's ready first. Doesn't seem to mind the other kids. So yeah, I guess he could be challenged a bit more if the environment was more suited to that. But unfortunately, he's not the only kid in the class. So when you've got this range of personalities and attitudes in the class, you have to juggle them as evenly as you can.
なんだろうな。 教室の、こう、仲間っていう感じができたら、もっといろいろできると思うんだよね。お互いの、得て、増えてっていうか、得意苦手みたいなのが分かってて、それをそれぞれが OK にしてると、あの子にはちょっとチャレンジレベルの高いことがあっても別に文句がないとかさ。
Right.
なんかみんなが、クラスのみんながどう考えるかとか、どういうふうにクラスを作ってるかだったのね。で、前もほら、私、なんだっけ、ミッションヒルスクールのさ、もう私が大好きなギャビー先生の話、まあちょっと時間だからもうあれないけど、ギャビー先生の話があったように、教室の中がものすごく民主主義的にもみんなが決めて、みんなのクラスなんだっていう前提で動くっていうのさ、先生がいて、先生のクラスに来てるんじゃなくて、ここに来てるのはみんなのクラスです。みんなが作るクラスなんだっていうのをすごい徹底してるとこがあってた。
Yeah.
ああいう風になってくると本当に面白いっていうか、すごくいい環境だなって思うよね。だからやっぱね、アティチュード、English Upliftが言うと 6C 教育があるじゃない。6C 教育で教えることはないんだけど、体験して感じさせるという、キャラクタービルドィングとシティズンシップっていうところっていうのは、すごく影響があると思うんだよね。
Right.
それでまたクラスマネジメントが変わるという。
Right. So it's a big topic.
まあちょっといつかやってもいいかもしれない。
Yeah, let's think about that one and see how we're going to present that one. But it needs to be taken very seriously because it's a big issue.
そうね。まあだから難しいよね。
Or we can think about putting it into the 養成講座。
養成講座の中で、なんかちょっと面白いね。養成講座でやってるの。
7期。
7期に入れる？新しい。ちょっとね、先生たちいっぱいいっぱいそうだからね。まあ、でも。
まあ。
で、次はね、また専科も、ごめんなさい、専科のね、申し込みがまだちょっと整ってなくて申し訳ないんですけど、専科は、
12月19日
の午後1時かな
?1
時から、やりたいと思います。まあ、3時間くらいと思ってますけども、4時間ぐらいになるかもしれない。ちなみにそこも、
今ちょっと。3時間になるかもし
れない。いや、なすないな。まあ、3時間今日ぐらいに思っておいてもらって、で、今回参加した方には、クリスマスプレゼントじゃないけれど、参加者にだけ特別に、郵送で、大したもんじゃないんだけどね。
It's good!
プレゼントをね、お送りしたいと思います。
It's a good present. It's nice.
まあ、プレゼントは、
I have one. I'm very happy with it.
私が英語を書いたアファメーション下敷きなんですけど、アファメーション下敷きに私とマッシュからちょっと、名前を書いてお送りしたいなと思いますので。
In the meantime, so keep that in your schedule, December 19th, and I believe we will see each other next week.
そうですね。はい。
Good night, everybody.
じゃあ、そんな感じで、
Have a good last day tomorrow, and a nice weekend.
いつもね、こんなそういう時間までありがとうございます。また、なんか、後で見てる方もいらっしゃるということで、いつもありがとうございます。なんか、チャンネル登録者数が気がついて140人ぐらいになって、ね、なんか、こんな好き勝手喋ってるだけで140人登録してくれるってすごいありがたいですね。ありがとうございます。
I thought today's content it was a trip back down memory lane.
What does it mean?
It means visiting old memories.
Right.
Oh, there was that teacher and this teacher, and yeah, we had that kind of teacher, and the army teacher. Good night.
結構覚えてるね。なんか見覚えなんだよね。私ちょっとほら苦手なのはね、人の顔っていうかね、苦手じゃない。覚えるのが。先生の顔とかの中でめっちゃ忘れちゃうんだよ。
Oh, I remember.
I'm terrible at remembering.
I could tell you all my teachers do you know all your elementary school teachers' names? First grade, Mrs. Butcher, second grade, Mrs. Copeland, third grade, Mr. Russell, fourth grade, Mrs. Hastings, fifth grade, Mr. Huntsville, sixth grade, Mr. Surtis.
すごいね。
Mr. Surtis.
私ちょっとワーキングメモリーなかったんですよ。私なんか自分、言い方悪いけど、自分に影響がなかった人は聞いていく感じがする。でも本当にダメなんだよね。なんかよくあるじゃない。この人どこで知ったかなみたいな。何も今更いけないみたいな。すごい私それ、ちょっと私の弱点だね。すごく深く関わったら、もちろん覚えてるよ。なんだけど、ほら、浅く付き合ってたりとか、浅く付き合ってたりっていうか、なんていうのかな。あとほら、もういっぱいいろんなこと研修しすぎちゃったから、向こうはすっごい私のこと知ってるけど、私全然知りませんみたいなのすごく多かったじゃない。そうするとなんかちょっと怖くなっちゃうときがあってさ。
Oh no, 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 no. You've made a nice impact to somebody at some point, so you just be very friendly.
まあもちろんそうする。
And you say, it's great to see you again.
うん。そうだけどね。私も苦手なんだよね。すごいね。でも覚えてる先生は覚えてるよ。ほら、私の大好きな。小学校1年生の時の。
If you don't do your homework, you get a stone.
違う違う、それは吉田先生は別で、私1年生の時の担任の先生が本当に好きだったのね。で、その先生はずっと好きで、大人になってもちろん名前は覚えてる。で、ちょっと調べてみたりとかしたすごい有名な先生になってて、でその先生がさ、足立区のさ、小学校の数学の研究会のサポートだったね。
So you went and visited him, and he remembered you?
そう、泣いちゃった、嬉しくて。なんか別の話しちゃった。おやすみなさい。
Good night.